Yes. Everyone's discussing it, believe me, and the verdict's not to your advantage. I'm pleased to have this opportunity to give you my opinion in a few words. I don't propose to get into the details. Forget all that. Let's assume the worst. Suppose Dami has behaved badly and falsely accused you. Would it not be Christian to overlook the sin and to suppress any desire for vengeance? Ought you to allow a son to be driven out of his father's house because of a dispute with you? I tell you frankly, I repeat, people of every class are shocked by this. If you take my advice, you'll make peace here and not let matters be pushed to extremes. Forget your anger. Offer it up to God. And reconcile a father with his son.
As far as I'm concerned, I would like nothing better. I had no animus against him. I forgive him. I don't blame him at all. I would do anything I could for him. But from God's point of view, it's just not on. And if he comes back, I shall have to leave. After his unprecedented behavior, any contact between us would invite scandal. God knows what might not be inferred. I'd be accused of pure expedience, and everyone would say that out of guilt I was pretending to forgive my enemy, that I was afraid of him and hoped I could in some clandestine way pay for his silence.
This weak concern for what people might think surely can't be allowed to override the majesty of doing good. No, no. Let's follow God's commandments every time and not confuse ourselves with other concepts.
I have already explained that I forgive him and therefore am following God's commandments. But after this scandal and today's insults, there's no commandment says I have to live with him.
And is there a commandment says you should acquiesce in this mad whim of his father's and accept his gift to you of a fortune on which justice must tell you you've no claim?
Those who know me would never dream of thinking that this is a result of my self-seeking. The riches of this world have very little appeal to me. I'm not one to be dazzled by their illusory glow. And if Orgon wants me to have this gift and I decide to take it, it will only be because otherwise, to be honest, I'd be worried in case all of that money were to fall into the wrong hands and end up with people who've used their share for evil purposes rather than keeping it, as I intend to, for God's glory and the welfare of my neighbor.
Oh, spare yourself these dainty inhibitions. Let him come into his inheritance at his own risk and don't distress yourself. Just think, better for him to squander it than for you to be charged with cheating him.
You must excuse me now. It's 6:30. And I'm required upstairs to fulfill certain religious duties, much as I hate to leave you.
God give me patience.
Please, sir, help us to help her. She's in a dreadful state. And this arrangement her father's fixed up for this evening has driven her to despair. He's here.
Ah, good. I'm glad I found you all together. Now, here's something which should raise a smile. His contract. You must know what it's about.
God knows how painful this is. And for his sake, by anything that's capable of touching your heart, relax your father's right a little. Exempt my love from having to obey you. Don't impose this harsh law, and so reduce me to wish to God that I were not your daughter. And please, don't ruin my life for me, Father. This life you gave me. If you must forbid me to belong to the man I love, and thwart the hopes that I have been allowed to cherish, at least, I beg you, on my knees, be kind, and don't condemn me to belong to a man I loathe. Don't exercise your will on me, and drive me to do something desperate.
going to let myself give way.
I have nothing against your feeling for him. Display it all you like. Give him your money, and if that's not enough, give him mine as well. I'd happily agree it's yours. But can't you just draw the line at offering him my body? Let me use up my sad remaining days in the austere enclosure of a convent.
Oh, I see. You're one of those who turns religious at the first setback to your amorous plans. On your feet. The more repulsive you find him, the more improving it will be for you. Use this marriage to mortify your senses. Now, that's all. I don't want any more nagging.
But what if she
And you
doesn't?
shut up. Mind you,
She'll
don't
come
ask
on,
me.
but I'm
I
not
forbid it.
If you'd allow just one word of advice.
Yes. Your advice is always admirable. Well argued, and I do value it greatly. But you won't mind if this time I ignore it.
I don't know what to say about all this. I'm staggered by your blindness. You must be infatuated and obsessed with him to overlook what's happened here today.
Seeing's believing, with all due respect. I know how indulgent you are towards my son, and that you were afraid to contradict him when he tried playing that trick on the poor boy. You were too calm to be believable. You would have looked a good deal more upset.
Need we react quite so ferociously when someone just declares his love for us? Are blazing eyes and spitting out insults the only possible response to it? My way is just to laugh at these approaches. I get no pleasure out of melodrama. I think a chilly and discreet refusal is as effective a rebuff as any.
Well, I know my mind, and I'm not changing it.
Again, I'm staggered by this curious weakness. But how would it affect your unbelief if I could show you we were telling the truth?